If you keep that person in mind, then it will be easy to come up with ideas for content. And then using a system like this, it will be easy to make multiple different styles of content. Hi guys, my name's Eddie and I've been running my product-based business for around a year and a half now, and today I want to talk to you guys about content creation. Now, if you're running a small business and you're doing everything by yourself, social media can be one of the most powerful tools for you to use, mainly because it's free. If you don't have a huge investment or anyone funding your business, it's just you and your regular day job trying to power through this economy, then social media is actually very important, even if you don't really like it that much. You might be someone who can very happily sit and scroll through Instagram for like 2 hours, but when it comes to actually making stuff for it, you feel really exhausted and overwhelmed by the entire process. I understand how you feel completely, because that is me. I'm not naturally a creative person. I'm not a particularly good photographer. My handwriting is even abysmal. So when it came to creating like aesthetic content for Instagram, I really struggled. And because Instagram was the platform that I focused on the most in my first year, my mental health just sank lower and lower because I was just so overwhelmed by the fact that the algorithm just seemed to hate me completely, and like no trending audio and no aesthetics and nothing I did could save me. I realized that part of the problem that I had was the fact that I didn't have a plan, but I think that actually stood me in good stead for making a plan for this year. Around halfway through last year, I was like, F it. I'm going to try other social media platforms as well as Instagram because it's still not picking up for me. So I started things like Pinterest, I started TikTok, and I started also doing blog posts for my own website. Now, even though none of these took off to any great extent, I did notice something interesting. My Pinterest pin impressions really picked up for some reason. Like pins that I had made all the way back in March just suddenly at like December just started doing really well, and I was like, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand how Pinterest works. And then I took some more time out to read about things like SEO. SEO is like getting really big now. If you spend any time on the app Threads, you'll know that people are talking about blogging and SEO like non-stop at the moment. So I took some time to do like a few basic SEO courses. I will link to the ones that I did down below. In doing my research for SEO, in trying out different platforms, I realized that actually instead of just throwing everything at the wall and trying to make it stick, I needed a system that would work for me as somebody who works full time, who also has a family to look after, who sometimes needs to like clean their house and cook dinner, as well as run the business, so that I can actually do the business stuff and not just spend all my time creating content and forgetting that I'm actually trying to make sales. Today, what I want to discuss is basically the system that I came up with for creating multiple pieces of content from a single idea. If you're a really busy person who's trying to run their business, then you don't have time to be constantly coming up with ideas. You basically need like a few core ideas and then like branching ideas out of that. So for example, if you're like a candle person, you don't necessarily need to differentiate why your candles are different. You just need to attract people. Something that's always spoken about is like the 3 content pillars, which is educational, inspirational, and entertaining, right? So if you're a candle person, that the entertainment thing might be mistakes that I've made while making my candles, or like bloopers of you trying to film yourself while you're like piping out the candle wax, or like things that you found that people have said to you about candles that you found funny, like maybe when you're at a market or something like that, somebody like makes a snide remark like, who would want to buy candles, or like, what's the difference, why don't I just buy it from a big shop, or something like that. Inspirational might be the journey that led you to start making your own candle business, and then educational might be why you stopped buying candles from big box stores, why you put certain ingredients in your candles, things like that. And then when it comes to creating multiple pieces of content from a single idea, you need to decide which social media platforms, or which platforms in general, that you're going to use. So I'm going to show you the ones that I'm going to be using this year, because these are the ones that I think are going to work. Hands up fully, we're going to go through this process together because I don't know if it's going to work, but this is just based on sort of the metrics and the things that I've learned from last year. Because my business is based on a wellness-based product. It's a physical product, but the purpose behind it is to enhance people's wellness. A lot of my content is going to be wellness-focused content. The initial concept that I'm going to be working from is usually probably going to be like a quote or a wellness concept that I can work with. So the one that I've got here is, if you think wellness is expensive, try illness. So the idea behind that being prevention is better than cure. People don't focus on wellness until they get ill in the first place. So the main channels that I'm thinking of using for this year are a blog post, which is actually on my website. So my blog post and the sales site that I use are all located within my Shopify store. Then I'll be adapting that blog post into an email that I'm going to send out to my email list. Now, I don't have a really big email list right now. It's around 200 to 300 people, somewhere in between that. So it's not huge, but it's enough people that from that list, I do get repeat customers, and I am able to grow that list in a number of ways. If you're interested in how I've grown my email list even that much, I can let you know in a different video. Again, it's not that many, but it's better than paying for a course to find out how to grow your email list. My emails go out once a week. I try not to be too spammy. I try to do kind of like half of the emails are just like wellness and like productivity advice and tips, and then the other half is more salesy, like promotional stuff or like leading up to a campaign to try and, you know, basically put my product at the front of people's minds. And these are people who have already bought from me or who have shown interest in my products in the past. Then I've got my actual social media pillars. So the main social media platforms I want to focus on for this year are Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. My Instagram strategy is very, very different from how it was last year. Last year, I started basically only doing photos, and then I started doing basically only reels. And then my reels were those very like short 4 to 6 second reels that the aim of them was to go viral and to basically attract more people to my page. But something that I've realized this year is that those reels don't communicate any actual value, and I actually hate them. Like finding trending audios, finding trending reel formats, telling people to just go to the caption and read is just really stupid to me, I've realized. In my first video, I told you guys not to spend money on courses. That's the kind of information that you'll get from a course that you've spent $2,000 on and just like wasted your money and your time taking. So take it from me, you don't want to be doing stuff like that. You want to create content that kind of comes naturally to you, but also serves your audience, because at the end of the day, you're not creating content for yourself. You're creating content in order to attract people to your page and then eventually follow you, then eventually go to your website and then eventually buy from you. So my Instagram strategy is basically to take a quote related to that wellness concept and post that. And then going back to my blog post, I wanted to then create a carousel taking some of the main lines and the main lessons from the blog post that I've tried to communicate, and then putting that into like a carousel post. I don't know if this is true, but I've read somewhere that Instagram is starting to favor carousel posts more, especially carousels that have videos in them. I don't know if I'll be doing video carousel posts, but in general, I like carousel posts. Like I read them a lot of the time. So it's something that I want to try this year. I find it a lot easier to make. I use Canva Pro, by the way. This is not an ad, but like, if you're going to spend your money on one thing, I would suggest investing in Canva Pro, just so that you can get your own specific business like set up on it. So like your branding, so you can get your logo put on things, the fonts that you use, the colors for your brand, all saved in Canva. You can use a lot more of the assets, because a lot of the assets on Canva are paid assets, and it's just easier and quicker to make things with Canva, especially if you're like me and you're not a particularly creative person. Then for each idea, I'm also going to make at least one Instagram reel, if not a couple, communicating the same or similar ideas. One of them might be a long form one, and then another one might be like a condensed version of that. My advice for you for creating aesthetic Instagram reels, because remembering that Instagram is an aesthetics app, is to take lots of clips of you just doing things in your daily life: reading, writing, cooking, walking, commuting, sleeping, waking up, doing your skincare routine, getting dressed for the day, doing a workout, whatever it is that you're doing. When it comes to you, just remember to set up your camera and take like a little 5 to 10 second clip of yourself that's very easily editable and save them in a specific place. It doesn't matter if you keep using the same clips over and over again, because most of your audience will not be seeing your content because Instagram sucks, but it may help you reach new people, and people don't really register that they're seeing the same thing over and over again. You will, because you're the one making it, but just remember that other people aren't. And in fact, even if they are seeing the same kind of things over and over again, it might not matter, because that might help you stick in their mind a little bit better. You want to be delivering a similar message with each post anyway, so having things be aesthetically similar in each post isn't necessarily a bad thing. My next platform is TikTok. My idea for TikTok is first to post whatever Instagram reels I've posted on Instagram to TikTok, so just the video, not like downloaded from Instagram, and then also make a unique piece of content for TikTok. TikTok favors, luckily, content like this where people are just sitting and talking. I saw online somewhere that TikTok is thinking of introducing 30-minute videos because they want to compete more with YouTube. If so, that would be brilliant for people like me, because I talk a lot, as you can tell. Long form content on TikTok can perform well. So if you're somebody who is good at writing blog posts, then translating that into a TikTok might come relatively naturally to you. If you're not good at writing blog posts, by the way, but you still want to do some SEO based keyword blog posts to attract people to your page, I'm going to do another video on how to use ChatGPT and AI to help you create blog posts. And finally, Pinterest. Pinterest is definitely a platform that I want to concentrate on more this year. Something that I saw about SEO on Pinterest is that whatever you post might only be picked up 3 to 4 months later. So it takes a while for your posts to gain traction. And this is what I mentioned earlier about how I've been posting pins in March and they seem to be picking up in December for some reason. So it's worth making around 5 to 10 pins for each blog post that you make. And when you make them, make sure that you put really boring SEO-esque titles for each pin. So if it's talking about wellness, it might be like, these are the top wellness trends for 2024, or like how to prioritize your wellness, or like why you should prioritize wellness in 2024. Wellness is a big topic that's going to pick up a lot in January and February and March, because people are focused on revitalizing their health, wealth, and happiness in the new year. These kind of ideas are going to work really well for the beginning of the year, and so need to be posted now. Preferably they should have already been posted, but I didn't have time. I'm posting them now, hoping to gain a little bit of traction for them, and then hopefully they'll also continue to garner attraction throughout the year, potentially throughout different years. The good thing about Pinterest is that your content is evergreen, and so it's definitely worth investing time. There are plenty of Pinterest pin templates on Canva. You just change up the colors, change up the fonts, change up the images. It doesn't matter, as long as you can communicate the value of what it is that you're trying to say. People will still show an interest and click. So this is the basic template of what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if it's going to be successful yet, but I'm sharing it with you because I think, based on the experience I've had last year and the year before, this might be a solid strategy for this year. And at the very least, it's going to make it easier to create content, because you're turning one idea into like 10 to 15 different ideas. So you can change out the platforms if you prefer LinkedIn, if you prefer Threads, if you prefer Twitter, whatever it is. If you don't want to write blog posts, if you don't have anyone on your email list. By the way, if you only have a few people on your email list, you should still be writing to them regularly. Keep them warm, keep yourself at the front of mind. Don't just post discounts all the time. It's spammy. People don't want to see that in their inbox all the time. You will be removed. Try and provide value. I know it seems weird that small businesses should be trying to provide value, but remember that you're trying to differentiate yourself from larger shops. I said in my first video that nobody cares necessarily about your business, and no one's invested emotionally like you are, but that doesn't mean that you can't communicate the value of what you're doing through your emails. It doesn't mean that you can't communicate the ethos of what you're doing. If you're an eco-friendly clothing store and you want to talk about greenwashing in your emails and the importance of buying locally sourced products, and the importance of buying handmade, the problem with fair trade, things like that. These are all things that you're perfectly, you're more than welcome to communicate through your emails, through your blog posts. These are things that people are generally interested in. Remember that your target audience are the people who are wanting to buy things from small businesses for specific reasons. Always keep at the front of your mind, who is your audience? Who is your ideal client? and make your content for that client. If your ideal client is somebody who shops small, shops local, shops handmade, then make your content reflect that. Speak directly to them. What kind of life do they want to live? What kind of things are they aspiring to? What kind of topics and interests do they care about? If you keep that person in mind, then it will be easy to come up with ideas for content. And then using a system like this, it will be easy to make multiple different styles of content. And remember that when you're making your content, you want to communicate what the end result will be. You don't just want to communicate problems. You don't just want to communicate, this is my product, isn't it amazing? People want end results. Show yourself using your products. Show how your life has changed. Show examples of how other people's lives have changed. Give testimonials. Even if you have only 2 or 3 and they're from your friends, still share them. Spin it into a story. Just because it's from someone that you know, it doesn't mean that it's not true. I think that's it for today. I think I've said everything that I need to say. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for me on how to improve this system, I would absolutely love to hear it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.